guys, so today I am in my office and I wanted to talk about sending inappropriate email. So right now during COVID, it's harder to get in contact with people because you can't see them in person like you normally would during a typical school week. So you are now reaching out to them via email. However, sometimes you may notice that what you want to say is not being translated or is not being understood the way that you thought that it would be. So I'm going to give you some helpful tips on how you can send an appropriate email. So the first thing you want to do is to make sure that you have a greeting. So good afternoon, good morning, hello. And then you want to make sure that you address the person by their name. So whatever their name is, you want to make sure that you put their name and that you spell it correctly, okay? When you're typing an email, most of the time the person's name may be in their email, so you want to make sure that you look at that and that you spell their name correctly. Sometimes maybe you're sending an email to an office and you're not sure who exactly it should go to. So when it's something like that, just put the name of the office. Dear Student Disability Resource Office. Dear Student Health Services. Wherever you're trying to send your email to, just make sure that you put the name of the office. So the next thing you want to do is you want to introduce yourself. So say your name. My name is, put your first and last name. And if you are writing to a professor, maybe you want to put your student ID. And then you want to list the name or the course code of the class. If you're just writing to a regular office, then you may not need to do that. But if you are writing to a professor, you want them to know who you are, okay? They have many different courses, professors and teachers. So that's why you want to make sure that you put the course code or the class name. Now you want to go into your question or your statement that you may be relaying to your professor, your teacher, or to whoever you're reaching out to. So when you're asking a question, maybe you are curious about your grade. You want to make sure that you're clear and that you're concise. So this is not the time to go into a very long story about what's happened. This is the time to actually state what you want to say in as few words as possible so that your message does not get jumbled up or miscommunicated. If you find that your question or your statement is getting a little lengthy or too long, then you want to request a meeting with that person. So you would say something like, I actually have a few more questions that I would like to ask you. Can I schedule a meeting with you? And then you want to list at least 3 days, 3 different days, and 3 different times that you will be available so that when the person gets your email, they don't have to go back and forth trying to figure out what time that you'll be available. They'll see when you're available, and then they will pick one of those days or times. So now that you've gotten your statement or your question out of the way, you want to give a closing to your email, which is almost like a greeting, but you're closing the email. You're saying goodbye. So you want to say something along the lines of, thank you for your time, sincerely, have a nice day. Those are all standard greetings that you can use when ending your email. And then you want to make sure that you leave off with stating your first and last name again. And if you're sending it to a professor or a teacher, you want to add your student identification number again, because that's just a way of making sure that your professor knows who is writing the email. Now you finish all that, you're done, right? You're ready to click send? Not yet. Before you click send, you need to make sure that you read your email aloud to yourself and read it slowly. Go through each line. The purpose of doing this is to make sure that it makes sense and that you have spelled things correctly, okay? So you want to make sure that there are no spelling errors. Sometimes people like to copy and paste their email into a Word document, which will highlight your spelling errors. That's always something that you can do. You also want to make sure that your email is polite. You may be, sometimes when people are writing an email, they're not in the best of spirits, but you don't want that to reflect in your email. You want your email to sound appropriate so that the person reading it does not misinterpret it or that they don't become offended by your email. So that's why you want to ensure that you have a greeting, you spelled the person's name correctly, it's not too lengthy or too long, and that you've ended with a nice closing, and that there are no grammatical errors, okay? Because that just makes it hard to read, which sometimes irritates people. So make sure that your email, before you click send, you've read it aloud and that it is polite. Here is an email template that you can use to assist you in creating an appropriate email. Okay guys, so now that you know how to send an appropriate email, drop down in the comments and let me know if this video was helpful for you. Maybe you use some other greetings or closings. I'd like to know that too. Maybe you want to know a little more information on how you can send more appropriate emails. Drop down in the comments and let me know that too. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.